שלום לכולם. אני אגיד כמה מילים בעברית, אבל בעיקרון הכנס הוא באנגלית, וזה בגלל זאת אומרת, אני חושב שצביקה יציג בעברית, אבל יש לנו אורחים מחול באנגלית, והמצגת שלי לפחות היא באנגלית, אז אני מקווה שכולם, אני בטוח שכולם מבינים. אנחנו עושים סמינר היום של 2.5 בנושא של חדירה לשוק הגרמני. יש לנו שני נואמים מגרמניה בווידאו קונפרנס, הווידאו עצמו יוקרן שם בצד ימין של המסך, והמצגת תוקרן פה. אני רוצה להפנות את תשומת לבכם רק לסלייד הקטן שם, הייתי עושה אותו יותר גדול, אבל זה מה היה. אלה נותני החסות שלנו, בלעדיהם לא היינו פה היום, ואני רק אזכיר את השמות. אז קודם כל המכללה שנתנה לנו את המקום, ואנחנו מאוד מעריכים את זה. גל ארנון, משרד עורכי דין שתומך בנו, נתן חסות כספית. אינקומפס זה אני, אז אני נתתי חסות גם. מתי נתניה כמובן, מה? ומאור. מתי נתניה עזרו בצורה מאוד מאוד משמעותית, גם בלארגן את המקום דרך אגב, וגם בלפרסם. יש לנו פה שני צלמים, צלם סטילס וצלם וידאו מאוד מוכשרים, איזי צלם סטיל ודורון צלם וידאו. הפרטים שלהם רשומים שם וגם הם מסתובבים פה. יש קפה נהדר בחוץ שמסופק על ידי SMS בוקס. SMS בוקס דרך אגב הבעלים של המרפיז ונתניה זה עומרי טופז, אז הוא הבעלים של, או שותף לפחות ב-SMS בוקס, סתם משהו שאני יודע. ג'ויה זה הקפה עצמו, זה העמדת קפה בחוץ. גבי פוקס הוא השף הפרטי שלנו, שם מאחור, שמגיש לנו אוכל לדעתי מאוד טעים. ויש לנו את Media and Movement, שזה יובל קרן, שסיפק לנו בעצם את הפרוג'קטורים האלה, וזה משהו שהוא מאוד מעניין בפני עצמו.
היכרות קצרה עם העסקים הקטנים והבינוניים במדינת ישראל. הם נראים יפים, צומחים, ירוקים. רובם, כן? לא כולם נראים כך. אבל מה שחשוב רק להגיד לכם שתבינו שעסקים קטנים ובינוניים בישראל זה בדרך כלל מוגדר כעסקים עד 100 עובדים. למישהו יש מושג כמה עסקים רשומים בישראל? מכל הסוגים, שותפויות, חברות, 65,000. אז בואו, מישהו שם, כן, מישהו שם מכיר את החומר, אז זה הרמז בעצם לנתון הראשון, אבל אני לא אעלה אתכם, אני רוצה קצת שככה תראו את הסביבה של מדינת ישראל, מעל 500,000 עסקים, האמת היא שזה מעל 500,000 עסקים קטנים ובינוניים, כי תראו, הנתון המדויק 99.4 זה עסקים קטנים ובינוניים עד 100 עובדים. כל הגדולים 0.6, אני מדבר בספירה של עסקים, לא עובדים. מתי נתניה, החזון שלו זה ראש עסקי עם נשמה חברתית, כמו שהטרנד היום שמדברים על עסקים חברתיים, כן, אז זה חזון מלפני 15 שנה, ואנחנו פורעים את השטר הזה כל יום, ובעצם אנחנו קמנו בדיוק בשביל לטפל בשני הכשלים העיקריים, ידע ומימון. אנחנו פועלים במסגרת גוף ציבורי, עמותה, מלכ"ר. אלה שירותי הליבה שלנו. אנחנו בתוך, זה המעגל הראשון של השירותים, ייעוץ עסקי, הדרכה, הלוואות, ואם נחבר את המעגלים ונשיק ביניהם, רק הזיקוק בתוך המשפך הזה יוצא בסוף ומגיעים לבעלי עסקים.
Okay, we're talking today about building a global market entry strategy. We're focusing on Germany, but I'm going to give sort of a general presentation which talks about all markets. There are 3 stages that I think about and that I recommend to companies when I speak with them. Notice the colors of the German flag. Start with a goal, move into a message, and move on to your strategy. And then, of course, the last step is the implementation, and I'll elaborate a little bit on these. So before we elaborate, I just want to make a few assumptions. Management experience, there could be many different aspects of that differentiate my company, and I need to build that into my message. And then what do I do with that message? Well, first of all, it's for me, it's for my company, it's for my focus and my clarity. Once I have a message and I know who I am and what I offer, which is competitive, then I orient my entire company towards that. It helps me with my pitch. It could be a sentence, it could be 10 minutes long, but it's my pitch. It's telling people who I am and what I do. And it could be used for all kind of marketing material like website and brochures, etc. And then how do I support my customer? So this is not only about after I've made the sale. This is also a message that you have to deliver to your customers or your prospective customers and also to your prospective partners before you've ever started, before you've ever sold, before you've ever signed the agreement. They want to know how you're going to support them, especially if they're in a different country. And I've had this question come up many, many times. You're in Israel, we're in the US. How are you going to support us once we make the commitment? And then we started developing a strategy, and we still haven't even checked the market. So now we're doing research. The research can be theoretical and it can be practical. Practical means actually going out there and talking to customers or to partners. And we do that, typically it's better to do that with people that the level of risk is a little bit lower. Because if you're going to go to a prospective client who's, you really want them to be your client, and they're not in your network and you don't know them, and this is the first time you've reached out to them, you may be too early stage, you might make an error that has to do with lack of experience and then burn that client. So you have to be very careful about who do you approach when you do your research. And then you go back. You go back because now you've collected information and you modify perhaps your goal, you modify your message most likely, and you certainly modify your strategy. The last step is the implementation, if you remember. So everything until now was preparation, although there's a lot of work in touching on the market, but it really is preparation for actually entering the market. What I'm talking about is implementing the strategy that now you've built. And of course, you have to do that in an organized and methodical way. These are aspects or points that Israeli companies, especially young Israeli companies, often don't do very well. And the reason they don't do it very well is because they don't always appreciate the magnitude of the importance when you interact with global partners or clients. You have to always come across as serious business people who know how to communicate very well with people in general and with people from other cultures. You have to show that you have quality behind your products and quality behind your management. There are many different aspects. In talking about Germany, I think that you'll hear in the rest of the evening, you'll hear more information about that, about how much value Germans place on these issues in particular, but I'm pretty sure that you'll find that anywhere you go in the world. Good. Can everybody see? You can see Michael? Good. I'd like to give a brief introduction. So Michael is not in the other room. He's actually in Germany right now, and we wish that he could be here speaking with us, but this was the best we could do. Michael is Mr. Michael Goedeker. He's a cybersecurity veteran with multiple certifications. His research has been extensively published. After selling his last cybersecurity company, established a global consulting and research company.
Said pretty much enough, so I'll get into the context of this discussion. So today we're going to talk about starting business relations or starting a presence or footprint in a different country. In this perspective, it's going to be about Germany. There's two reasons. One, my company is in Germany, even though I'm an American, so that's an interesting piece right there. The second thing is I've had experience working with different startup companies, such as Gjurgjan, that was based out of Israel. In general, building a business is different than probably anything else that you're probably going to deal with, and building that business in Germany is also going to be even more different. So some of the things I'm going through that take longer is figuring out what type of business you need. And once you figure out the type of business that you need or want, then it's getting into the papers, the details, the legal stuff, requirements that need to be completed so that the company can get registered in the local court, that you can get the finances and the bank accounts done. So Germany's a bit different and things take their time, but there's also specific steps that you need. For instance, I have a GmbH, which is similar to an LLC. That obviously has to be registered in the court. In order for me to get registered in court, I have to give myself an employment contract because I'm managing director, which is kind of weird, but that's the way things go. You also need an investor slash a company owner contract. After you have those things, you go to a lawyer. They basically notarize it, then it gets sent to the court. You have to give them a simple business plan, what you're planning on doing. You have to check to verify that your name is allowed to be registered through the Commerce Department. And then after all that stuff said and done, you need to have a company bank account registered in the company name, and there's a few other legal requirements that you need. After all that stuff's done and you have your tax number, you can finally start writing your own invoices. So it takes some time, plan at least 4 to 6, maybe even 8 weeks, depending on which region you're in. Once all the papers are done, then you can go and write your invoices and make money. Slide 5. There are 2 things I think that are very critical to every business, and especially in Germany because of the culture. Building up the relationship with the customer base is extremely important. Now, back in 2015, Germany had a population of over 81 million. Immigrants made up around 20.3% of the country, but as we all know, that's drastically changing because of world events that are going on. I can't really assess right now what that means for the culture, but there is a perception. On the one hand, Germans, because of the history perspective, don't accept other people being radical or, I'm looking for the right word, being openly aggressive towards other nations. On one hand, that's good. On another hand, when other countries come in here, then there's discussions maybe some people should have that they don't. Now, what does that mean? When we figure out what type of company we want to have, whether it's a branch office, a joint venture, or if we want to work with a distributor from our home countries, and we classify ourselves as MNEs, multiple national enterprises, which most of us are, that'll also dictate what type of partners that you have based on, first off, the industry that you're targeting, the product or service that you're selling, and also the type of business that you have. So finding the right partners is critical for a bunch of different reasons. I apologize if you guys already know this, but I'm just reiterating just to make sure I have all my notes done. We can do the questions later. So finding the right partner means if you're, for instance, looking for a distributor, do they have connections into the automotive industry, government, defense, et cetera, if that's what you're targeting? Does the distributor have their own sales force, their own pre-sales force, et cetera? All these things will be very important to you because if you don't have a branch office or if you're just starting off, you need to scale through someone else's staff.
Regarding regulations for companies that are running in the cloud and have to store information in the cloud, is it required that it is stored in Germany or it can be anywhere in Europe or also in the US?
Did you hear that, Michael?
Okay. Yeah, so I heard with cloud-based services, does Germany expect basically the data to be stored in Germany or not? So the answer is, this is one of the industry-specific items. So if you're talking to defense and government-based services, they expect you to adhere to their standards, which are very stringent in regards to data privacy and also having the data in country. That's not something unusual, though. Those of us that have been in the defense market for quite some time, you'll see that in every country you'll have the same thing. But the Germans do want to see their cloud-based services primarily in the DACH region, either in Switzerland or Germany.
Is it important to establish the company in Germany, or is it enough for it being a European company elsewhere in Europe? And the specific direction is tax issues.
Okay, so from a tax perspective, if you're in the DACH region, obviously Switzerland would make the most sense. It depends on what your company structure is, if you have a holding company, et cetera, if you have anything as a Delaware registered corporation in the US, that depends on what form of company that you have. The typical example is that in my case, since I'm living here, I started a GmbH, Limited Liability Corporation.
We're good.
Okay.
Michael, thank you very much. Appreciate. Let me turn the video back on here so you see me thanking you. Thank you very much. We appreciate it very much. I think it was very informative. And if anybody wants to be in touch for further correspondence with Michael, I'm sure that we could arrange for that. Is that correct? Good. Excellent. Thanks a lot.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, so now we're going to connect. I hope that was helpful. And we're going to connect now to Dr. Timo Kruger. And I'll introduce him in a second. I just want to make sure the connection's up. Hello, Timo. How are you?
And you?
The first slide that we have open, Timo, is the one with your picture.
Okay. So, it looked like I have quite similar clothes today. Maybe I can rethink the strategy here. So first, thank you very much for the possibility to speak. Today it would be great to see you, but you can see me, and so this is the first advantage you have on this day. And I want to start with a picture why we started with Gjurgjan project 7 years ago. And this was passion-based. I worked since years in the Charité. I'm on the slide with top line 100,000 surgeries with Gjurgjan right now. And I think this is very important because it sounds easy, but it's not so easy to figure out what is the core number, what is the number I have to grow. So in this case, we have machines, so the company could focus on selling machines. We have instruments are reusable. I could focus on these instruments are reusable. And we decided, okay, Gjurgjan is on the way to be a disposable manufacturer, and because of that, we count surgeries. It's not investment business. It is a pathway to surgery business. It's very important to define strategical decisions, how to address a market, how to enter a market, how to market your company in different environments. And so that means for us, I go to the next slide. We were able to generate a global footprint. You have a map here, Gjurgjan's global footprint. All the green colored countries are under distribution of Gjurgjan. So I told you we started in Europe, and because of the CE certificate, it's quite easy to address the whole European market. It's the same approval process. And later on, we enlarged our activities to Australia, some parts of Africa, and our biggest market, US. And this is a very important company. The topic is how to enter Germany, but maybe you can rethink. If you enter Germany, you can enter the whole European Union somehow. So there is a possibility to find a European distributor or a European setup. At least I will come later to a strategical point how to enter. There are some surgeons in an international network, and this is a very important topic not to set the focus point because it is a different culture. So that means you need to answer the question, can we go direct, or is it better to use a distributor, or is it good to collaborate with a company is already distributing? And this is very important because I would never go on a company level of Gjurgjan size. So let's say if you have a company with a trademark is not visible all over the world, I would never recommend to go direct because it is a lot of cost, it is a lot of effort, and you need to learn a lot of regional differences. Let's reimbursement, insurance system, behaviors between the regions, and our experience or my experience with the company we made, and also with companies we are collaborating and working with, it is better to use an existing structure to enter it. And if you feel strong enough, therapeutical approaches you are compete with. And so what we have done, we target the key opinion leader of the biggest competitors. And if you got them, then is something good in your strategy and something good with your technology, because everybody can see, oh, this is the promoter of Medtronic, or in this case from Storz, but he is using the other product, the competitive product, there should be a technology advantage or whatever. And this is the second point. I go to the next chart. This is strategic product rollout. The strategy in this case is how to enlarge our possibilities in this case. Just buy it. So we bought a patent license from GE, and this was a preparation to enter the market, because if you target a bigger market than you, as you have today, usually the competition see it and what they can do. They can act on the court, they can block you, and if you can use a strategic moment to change the situation, it can be very helpful. And I use this strategy in coordination entering the American market. And so that means we bought a license from GE just a month before we entered this market. And so all the competition need to rethink our strategy, because everybody knows when you enter the market, because you got the approval just before, and everybody is prepared. I go to the next slide. A very important thing is collaboration. This is, I already told you, this bundling, but it's not just bundling, it's also a monetary effort or a strategical time.
So first of all, thank you very much. It was a very informative presentation, and we heard you great. We didn't see you, but we heard you great. Are there any questions to Dr. Kruger? Yes.
I thought it was very interesting that you chose to go into a smaller market in the beginning and continue with taking bigger markets afterwards. Was that a financial choice, or I would like to understand why you chose that way to go?
Oh no, this was the strategic choice, because we have very strong competition in this main market, let's say orthopedics, or heart surgery, or brain surgery. All the bigger companies are focused on that. And so usually a technology company needs a while to find a marketing concept to promote your technology. And if you find a niche, you have time. You can build up your line, you can build up your USP, you can build up your way how to sell. And if the market is bigger, the pricing is higher, you need to be very competitive. So for instance, the investment volume for a navigation system in ENT is half of the investment in brain. So if I have success in ENT, I can easily go into brain, because my margin is better, my market volume is better, and I have already a pricing advantage together with the technology advantage I have already. And it is the volume monetary-wise is smaller, but the number of interventions in sinus surgery is the biggest we have in Germany. So if we follow this core passion, we can say, okay, the number of interventions with earning per instruments, or at least with hockey stick, is quite good supported.
Thank you. Any questions? Yes.
Yes, I wanted to ask you, please, how important is it to have the local clinical data, to have a clinical study in Germany in order to start working?
Did you hear that, Timo? How important is it to have a local clinical study in order to start?
I think it is usually many people saying we need a clinical study. I'm not so sure. In Germany, usually there is a study you can compare your technology with, and this is clearly a job of a key opinion leader. So this is also a very good strategic concept. So because a key opinion leader can market your company on a stage, But for sure, we have to do some clinical approach, and this is also the way to gut them. Usually, I select, for instance, now we are working with UPenn in the US because we want to enter a market this brain field in the US. So we got to approval right now, and we are doing an IRB. This is a research grant somehow. And the target of this is to get clinical data. And in the German point of view, I would recommend to use a European research grant. There are many possibilities, and you have then a multi-centric study, because this data, the European market is not the same. So Italians are saying the Germans are terrible traditional. So it means it is not so easy to convince them for new technology, and could be helpful to follow the European approach. This is what we have done to get our numbers. And to say again, it's not every time necessary to do a study. It is important to have numbers supporting your marketing message, from my experience. The way it could work depends on your product.
Thank you very much, Timo. Okay, I think we're going to have to conclude at this point. We appreciate, let me turn my video back on so you see who's talking to you. So thank you very much, Timo. We appreciate it. It was very informative. And I think that if anybody wants to be in touch with Timo, I think it's okay that we reach out, we find a way to reach out to you and make connections with some of the companies that are present here. So thank you very much. Thank you for your time. We have a great panel discussion with people who have done a lot of business in Germany and know what they're talking about, not as opposed to anybody else you've heard so far, but in addition. And projection of your video on the side. We have a great audience here today. Panelists, the panelists are going to sit on the stage. They're going to position themselves on the stage in a minute. And I'm going to take this time to introduce the panelists. I think we're missing one. We might not have made it. So while they're setting up, let me make some introductions. So Barbara, who's on the video right now, Barbara Lempa, is the CEO of a company called Interrelations. She provides market entry support for foreign companies in the German market. She identifies relevant client groups and sales channels, creating business networks, organizing trade shows, and developing marketing strategies. This doesn't do a whole lot of justice. It's very short. This is only a portion of what she does, but we have to keep it short. I'm going to introduce Zipi Weiner. Zipi is a sales training specialist. Hi, Zipi. Feel free to come up stage, panelists. Zipi has more than 15 years of high-tech sales management experience, specializing in Germany and surrounding countries. She's led projects into the German automotive market and introduced SanDisk's SSD into Fujitsu Siemens. Today provides sales training for teams and individuals. Zipi is a native German speaker and studied in Germany. We have Avichai Belitsky, who will join us also on stage. So you made it through the traffic. Avichai is the VP and Managing Director of International at Interactive, a company that was recently acquired by a German company. He has 15 years experience in the internet and mobile advertisement industry, with extensive experience in location-based advertisement and in the mobile arena. His company, like I said, was recently acquired by a German company named RNTS. Rami Yosef, welcome. He's the co-CEO and owner of Yisum, a consulting firm that specializes in performance management via compensation and benefit and business acumen training. His company has established a partnership with a German company. And we have Miri, last but not least, CEO of Shefa Regulatory Services. Actually, another hat is with LifeSci, right? All right. So, Barbara, what I'd like to do also is make sure that you can see panelists.
Hi.
fix this here. There we go. All right, so Barbara, I'm going to ask you the first question. You support non-government companies with entry into the German market. An important part of your work is bridging cultural differences that affect business interactions. How would you suggest Israeli companies engage German partners in terms of building trust and getting to know each other?
Thank you, Ilan. And also a nice hello to you all and the audience. Well, it's a very important question, how to build trust with your partners when entering any new market. For the German market, even with the best product or services, you can be successful only after you build good relations and have good partners, trusted partners. For the Germany, I will concentrate only a couple of points out of my experience with supporting foreign companies. Well, for example, for many reasons, it is German companies tend not to answer any emails in English language, which are coming from unknown source, which is what is making the cold acquisition from abroad so difficult in Germany. All of my clients reported problems in this area. In my experience, the best results are made through a personal contact. After the contact, a follow-up email is a must, which provides and deepens the connection and provides your partner with all the information. This follow-up email should be sent immediately after the contact has been made, which brings me to a very important question. It's the aspect of time. Time is of major importance in Germany. Plans, agendas, itineraries are made on a daily basis in companies of all sizes. It surprised me very often from my clients that they didn't realize the mentioned dates were actually fixed deadlines. All mentioned dates when talking to German partners are to be taken seriously. If a German company has to ask again for some information, it is usually not the best sign, because punctuality is an indication of reliability, and reliability is actually the best way to build trust. It is also important when doing business with Germans to plan ahead. Meetings on a short notice are mostly very difficult to get. When we talk about what you can discuss with the German partners at the beginning, I would suggest always to concentrate on a professional building professional relations between your company and the German company, and not so much a personal relation between you and the German partner. Personal and business talks can be both used, of course, just not on the same time. For example, a small talk, Germans are very known not to be very good at small talk, and this is very, very true. Small talks are usually used after the business talks are done, and not before as an opener, as usually internationally used. I also tend to suggest my clients always to be prepared to talk about their services, about their company. Time to ask?
Yes, go ahead, Barbara.
Sure. So Zipi, you supported M Systems, later Sandis, with entry to German market. So in the process, you learned important lessons about how roles are divided, roles are defined in German companies, and how to best reach the right person. So it would be nice to hear your experience.
Okay. So if you can hold it, because I'm Israeli and I'm talking with my hands, so it can help me. Barbara, in a week time now, we are going to celebrate Passover here, and it's about asking questions. So if there's something that I would like to give out today, would be how to ask a specific question in order to get there, and what will be this question. And I would like to share in a personal experience while trying to penetrate with an SSD solid state disk into Fujitsu Siemens. So usually when you're looking for a point of contact or a specific product that you would like to, you would search for a specific title or person to get there. Am I right? Okay. So this is the regular way that you actually do. You ask for a specific title from the area, the product that you want to do. So we did the same.
And we started with the test engineers, then we went over to servers, HDD. So we said, okay, they're thinking surely how to develop into the future. So hard disk will be replaced with solid-state SSDs. This was very wrong, okay, because job security, they still didn't talk about or thought about future. Then we said, okay, let's go over to the high-end servers. Then let's go over to the ThinPen and Fin-based servers, Fin-based clients. Actually, we were always looking for the titles, and it didn't evolve. We couldn't get there. We couldn't close the deal until finally, after 16 persons, I was doing it very shortly, we discovered that there is a position in the company which is called Director of Product Strategy. He is in charge of the strategy that is going to be built in 5 and 10 years now across all Fujitsu Siemens. That means that although you will reach the product management or the highest level in a specific division, that's not always the question you need to ask. Sometimes you need to ask about where you want to get there and if there is a position in this company that is leading.
Okay, good evening, everyone. First of all, I want to share with you that I met the German company by accident. I was participating in a training conference called ATD in the United States 6 years ago, and I was looking to find another product to bring to Israel, of course, from an American company. And all of the attitude I got from the American company, they were arrogant and they looked at us very awkwardly. And there was a stand there, a booth of a German company called Simdustry, which I started to talk to the owners, and I was absolutely charmed by them. They were humble, smart, with a very interesting solution. So we started the debate, and 3 weeks later, I find myself with my partner on a plane to participate in a workshop in Düsseldorf. So it was absolutely amazing, and we found the Germans to be very much similar to us in many criterias. They were very professional, they were humble, they were perfectionists, and both me and my partners are engineers. And to our surprise, they were very, very flexible. Now, during the correspondent, we didn't know what to expect because we know American, we know European, other European countries, but we didn't know Germans. And the writing with them with emails was very awkward. So when they wanted to tell a joke, they simply wrote, laugh, and with a smiley, and I was looking at my partner like they're very weird. But when we came to visit and do the trainer, we absolutely find ourselves with new partners. They're fast, rapidly growing, and after 2 years, they established a global network. I came back on February from the annual meeting that we have. They already represent over 20 companies global-wide. So we found that working with the Germans provide us with a much more flexible. For them, it was a much more cultural shock than to us. We found ourselves today with a partner that we love to work with, that is fully committed to us. They are innovating new products every year, and we can't keep up with them. So in our experience, best product, time to market, and quality. Okay, did you specifically pursue an acquisition strategy with the German company? And what would you say has been the most impactful aspect of this acquisition in terms of interacting with Germans?
So actually, I think everything is about culture, and I can say a lot about it. But just to answer the question, so actually we didn't look for being acquired. We were profitable for about 1 year, and yes, of course, we're thinking about raising money, but yes, we thought more about the Chinese market. But actually, RTS is the mother company of Fiber. I don't know if anybody here is familiar with the edtech industry, but it's a great company in German. They are also based in the US, in San Francisco. And actually, they were investigating about 50 companies worldwide in our industry, and finally they had top 5, and then they approached us. And the process, as we know, with German companies, German people, was very long. It took, I think, almost a year. And finally it happened. Actually, we are between the selling and the closing. The closing will be just at the end of this month, so everything is very fresh, and it's even officially not a done deal yet. But whatever I can say is still working with the German, with all the process. So everything that was said here is really right. The process is long, and they are very serious in their checks and all the I forgot the word, all the process of the legal process that are doing before they're acquiring the company was really very, very profoundly basic and very substantial, and this was the process. So actually, the more experience we have currently is with dealing in the German market, because we are already participating. We are working there, and Miki is standing here. He's in charge of he's the salesperson in the German market.
Local industry in the Hanover area. So after being part of the Israeli industry and conducting, I don't know how many clinical studies in Germany, and then volunteering to support the cooperation between German companies and Israeli companies, and now this incubator, as you all, I think that what we need to do is to overcome the cultural differences. But in order even to need to overcome the cultural differences, we need something else. Most of the Israeli startups that I'm working with, or even mid-sized company, lacking, I think that the biggest need is to get funding or strategic partner. So a big assistance from both the Israeli government and the German government is to allow introduction or allow an access to Israeli technologies, to local investors or maybe strategic partners. And currently, most of the Israeli companies are going to big trade fairs like Medica, for the people that are coming from the medical field. You know the Medica, this is the biggest trade fair in Europe. And then they are lost because this is a huge trade fair and they don't have the access into the companies that may be a strategic partner or distributor in Germany and furthermore in Europe. So the idea is to start building different kind of meeting, smaller one, more intimate one, that will focus on, let's say, more specific medical technologies. And to these meetings, the idea is to bring Israeli technologies and specific German partners from the industry, from clinical sites, from banking and so on, and to improve the chance to make a connection.
Tell me if I...
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
My question is, what is the best way to estimate the market size in German in terms of the fact that not like the US market or the UK market, most websites probably are in German, especially if I'm looking for domestic customer and not international, and therefore I guess the website is not in English but German.
Well, yes, I know this problem from many of my clients. German companies who are dealing only with German customers tend to have only German websites. English language is not like in Israel, like you see here, everybody is talking in English. This is very, very seldom done in Germany. In Germany, German is the language. This is how I help foreign companies because of the language barrier is one of the biggest ones.
Thank you. Yes, go ahead.
I have a question for Miri. I just would like to know why would you advise to go to Germany as to any other country in Europe, and if so, why?
That's a very good question. Yes, I do recommend to work in Germany. Germany is a gate to Europe, and most of my clients, I'm giving them an option. I have a clinical study hub in Germany, in Frankfurt actually, but it's all over there, and in Barcelona. And of course there are other options like in Netherlands and in the UK. But we found out that clinical studies that are conducted in Germany are well respected all over.
Okay, thank you very much. I think we're going to conclude here. Barbara, thank you on your end. Thank you very much to our panelists. Thank you very much to our audience. Thank you very much to our sponsors again. Just make sure you notice who made this possible, who provided us with great food, great coffee, great photography. Your pictures are probably going to be all over the web very soon. Hope you got value out of this program. Of course, you're welcome to stay and network and finish the coffee and finish the food if you'd like. Thank you very much.